Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. So grateful to have some time with you today on this Wednesday afternoon. It's a beautiful day to be educated on how we are going to vote this year. As you know, YWCA of Northern New Jersey has had a campaign this entire year to focus on getting out the vote. And we have brought to you issues through our national organization that are impacting women, people of color in our country, so that you can educate yourself on them. We've brought you lots of great speakers to talk to. We're actually getting ready and hosting a candidate forum with the League of Women Voters in a few weeks. But today is all about the process. And there's been a lot of discussion because obviously the way that we're living this year due to COVID has really impacted the way that we're voting and made it very different, especially for those of us here in New Jersey. So I'm so grateful to have our guests today who are going to walk us through, talk to us about the process, help dispel any myths that seem to have been created, as a result of these changes. And we are taking questions. If you have any, please feel free to put them in the comments. And we will also put links for places that you can get questions answered if they come up after the broadcast. So with that, I would like to welcome our guest today. We have Patricia DiCostanzo, who is the Bergen County Superintendent of Elections, and Theresa Mullins O'Connor, who is a Deputy Superintendent with us. They both are here to discuss maintaining voter records, voting machines, and the process and role in investigating and fact-finding around provisional ballots. So let me tell you a little bit more about them before we jump into this really important conversation. Patricia DiCostanzo was appointed by as Superintendent of Elections by Governor Christie Todd Whitman with consent of the Senate in 1996. She's a 30-year veteran of elections. She served as the Deputy Superintendent of Elections and is the former chair of the Bergen County Board of Elections. Patricia was elected to a 3-year term of the New Jersey Association of Election Officials at the annual convention in Atlantic City in March of 2005 and served until March of 2008. She is also an active member of the association, and she has been on the legal and legislative committee, the regional vice president, secretary, and vice president before being elected to the presidency by her colleagues there. And now she serves as advisor to the current president. So it'll be wonderful to hear from this very experienced elections professional about where we're at today. And she is joined by Theresa O'Connor, who was appointed as the Deputy Superintendent of Elections, the Deputy Superintendent of Elections / Deputy Commissioner of Registration for Bergen County in 1996 by Governor Christie Todd Whitman. In 2010, she was reappointed to a 5-year term by Governor Christie. She is a former first vice president of the New Jersey Election Officials Association and a member of the New Jersey Association of Election Officials Legal and Legislative Committees, and also serves as the interregional coordinator for the association. She currently serves as a presidential advisor to the association. And she is a former elected official in the New Milford Council and has served as council president in 1990. She was the first woman elected as mayor in New Milford in 1991. Woohoo! We love those firsts. And hopefully, we know she's paved the way for others to help serve around us in these mayorships. And she also served in that capacity in her appointment as Deputy Superintendent of Elections in 1996. Ladies, welcome. Thank you so much. And my goodness, you bring so many years of experience to this conversation. We're so grateful to have you.
Thank you for having us.
I know this couldn't be a more busy time of year for you, so it was really a coup to get some time with you today. Before we jump into the conversation, obviously sharing both of your tremendous backgrounds in this work, have you, and being where we are today, something new, something different, or what you've always seen? Give us a little input.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a unique year, without a doubt. And I mentioned before to you, we had the last presidential was Hurricane Sandy, and we thought that was unique.
Yeah.
Working with coal miner lights to keep the registrations going. But this one is an order written by the governor, 177, adding all these new procedures to what our daily work is. And obviously, some of them are. We have a vote online now. Register online now. We do it at motor vehicle. If you go to use your car, you still can use the old-fashioned paper. Send in your registration, and it's the amount of people participating with all of the publicizing going on is tremendous. The online registrations as of yesterday, in 2 days, we received 4,500 of them.
Yeah,
and again,
that's amazing. So right.
Yeah, well, yesterday was National Registration Day, so I think that warmed it a little bit. But we've been, as soon as they put it on, we've been getting those there. And motor vehicle, we average anywhere from 500 to 700 a day. And especially when motor vehicle was closed and they could go online. So we have a lot of work. We work in conjunction with John Hogan, the county clerk, and Jamie Sheen and the commissioners of the Board of Elections. We sent out a flyer, the 3 offices, to 650,000 people, giving them the bullet points of how simple you can get your ballot, where you can mail it. No, mumbo gumbo in it to get you confused, just down to earth verbiage. So with that being said, we are allowed this year you can mail in your ballot as normal through the post office, but people are concerned, and so there are all alternatives to that. There are drop boxes. We had 6 to start with. We now have 18 all over the county. Some are being installed in the next 3 days, and you can bring your mail-in ballot to that drop box, and it doesn't have to be in your town. Some of them, what the board try to do is keep them 2 towns away for 18 of them, so it would be easy to get to. But if I'm in Fort Lee and I'm in Hackensack today, I can drop it in the Hackensack drop box, which is right outside our building. So that's another way. The third way is if you get your mail-in ballot and you decide you want to go to the polls to vote, there will be another drop box inside the polling place where you will sign a book. And you can only bring back your own, and you will drop it in this drop box there. The machines, and this is where the misunderstanding is, there are machines out there, but they're only for ADA voters, only for handicapped voters. And when they come in, the voter will sign a certificate actually affirming the fact that they do have a disability and they are allowed to vote on the machines. We're getting calls, I don't know why I couldn't just vote on the machine. I stand online at Target, I stand online here. This order was given, our governor did it, because he wanted to make sure that everybody could stay healthy. But, and just to go back to the drop boxes again, unless you want to take that one and finish it up with the legislature with Gordon and.
Well, right now, there are 18, as Patty said, there are 18 drop boxes out there. In the legislation that allowed this to go forward, A4475, would have actually an adverse effect on Bergen County next year, because in February, any community over 5,000 population would also need to have a drop box. So we're trying to get that amended because it's just an enormous size of a county, geographically and density wise, and it's an extreme burden because, as you understand, what you need to know about the drop boxes is they are picked up every day. Once the ballots are being mailed now, the Board of Elections has a Democrat and a Republican in the company of a sheriff's officer picking those ballots up every single day and bringing them back to the Board of Elections to maintain the custody of the ballot. So, and they're picking up every day at 8 o'clock on election night. Every single one of those drop boxes has to be manned and locked. The ballots come out, and again, the custody issue, they're locked so that no one can vote after 8 p.m. So going forward, if there are that many more out there, it's just an absolutely enormous task that we think is extremely burdensome on the staff and actually on the municipalities as well. So that's something that we're trying to work to amend. But we, in general, I think the drop boxes, as Patty said, are absolutely amazing. More and more people are less concerned about voting their mail-in ballot because they know they can physically bring that ballot themselves. So they're also permitted, if they fill out the bearer portion, to transport 3 ballots plus their own. But they must fill out the bearer portion of that ballot in front of the voter to maintain the custody.
Okay. So just to reinforce this for everybody watching, because it is such a change and different, from past years. The process is you're getting a mail. Could you just walk us through again? You're getting a mail-in ballot at home this year, and then just the steps again. What they do with it.
Ballot. Okay, so let me just start at the ballot a second. There's the main envelope that the ballot comes in, and then there's another envelope inside, and then with the ballot goes into with the certificate attached to it. The most important part is on the certificate it would say, I, Patricia DiCostanzo, live here, and there's a red arrow which the clerk has put on it, which is great. It's a red arrow that points to the signature, so they don't forget to sign. And that signature is compared with their signature on record here in order that ballot is be able to be counted. Now you take the ballot, you put it in the inner envelope, and also the postage-free envelope the clerk has supplied to put the ballot in there. And there's also, the envelope doesn't have to be licked, it's a peel-off. So you just peel it off. So he went to quite a few lengths to make the people feel comfortable about receiving a paper ballot with all the stories that are going on about the paper. And again, the 3 ways to do your ballot: you can bring it to the polls, you can sign a book, you can take it to the drop boxes, you can mail it, and you can also come right out here, in front of our building and just say you lost your ballot or misplaced it. The clerk is right downstairs, so you could get a new ballot just in case you didn't get one. A duplicate.
Thank you for sharing that. And for anybody watching, although Patricia and Theresa are sharing the process for those folks living in Bergen County, New Jersey, this is a similar process in every county here in the state of New Jersey, since we have viewers that are from all around the state. We would just encourage you, and we'll put some links here so that you can get to the right people within your county to be able to get the specific locations, right within your own counties and communities. So ladies, one of the, obviously a lot of the discussion that we keep hearing are people just feeling that this system is not safe, and, that there can be, issues with counting and miscounting. Obviously, you're both seasoned professionals at doing this work. You've got long histories and careers. You've shared some of the ways, that, and that have been put in place to help us feel better about this. How are you feeling about this process? Do you feel it's sound and good, and that our citizens should feel confident?
Yep. Listen, rest assured, the Board of Elections and myself and the county clerk do everything possible to make the voter feel that the integrity of this election is 100%. And the night we go home before the big day, believe me, we have done everything in our power to get it out to the public, make sure our records are as fair as can be. Listen, there'll never be a perfect election, but it'll be a fair election coming out of Bergen County. And as far as we're concerned, the rest of the state got the same orders that we did. So they have to follow the same rules. Nobody got any and we are the largest county in the state. And compared to one of the southern counties that are tiny, everybody got the same rules. Do you tweak it to fit, to help your county get through it? Yes. And right now the county's allowed me to hire college kids for help. Our county executive, Jimmy Telesco, has been wonderful, and Mike Felucci, and I appreciate them because it makes our job easier.
So I know, yes.
I could also add, as far as people being concerned about the security of their ballot, if they go to njelections.org, once they return their ballot either through the mail or the drop box, they can track whether their ballot has been received by the Board of Elections. So that's another new step that's been available. The first time it's been available, and we've gotten a lot of calls about that. If you're a newly registered voter, you can actually go on that site with your driver's license. If you've been a long-time voter, which most of us have, you need to have your voter ID number, and we're providing that for the voters if they call. So that's another option that people have, just to make them feel safely that I put my ballot in the mail on Tuesday, and next Wednesday I already see that it's been received. So, and again, the board, because of the size of the county, as Patty said, there's last count, which has gone up. We've had over 650,000 registered voters in the county. The Board of Elections, the 6 commissioners and their staff are moving to the Bergen Community College. That's being all set up with IT, with security. All of our offices are working with OEM and the sheriff's officers to provide every possible bit of security for both the board workers and the voters. So that's, I mean, I think that's a big emphasis, that there's such a coordinated effort with our COOP, operations plan, and we brought in everybody, we brought the prosecutor's office in as well. So there's a lot of security out there that I think the general public doesn't realize, but we're taking this as seriously as everybody else.
Well, I appreciate you sharing all that detail, because I such a coordinated effort with so many agencies working alongside together definitely instills a lot more comfort. Patricia, did you want to share anything?
I wanted to just say about the drop mailboxes. There, if you go on the Board of Elections website, and they'll list where they are, where you can see it in what town that has them. Also, too, I can tell you that as of yesterday, the county clerk sent out Allendale's mail-in ballots. So mail-in ballots started. If you don't have your ballot by October 5th, you should call the office of John Hogan and ask for Sabrina. And one other thing that I spoke to you before, one of my friends called me. I'm not on Facebook, but for many reasons. But and so she called me. She said to me, "Listen, I want you to take a look at this. We send out an acknowledgement card. And you don't need it to vote. It's not for ID. It's just to let you know that you are now on the rolls in Bergen County." Well, someone put a picture of it on it and said that this is fraud. Contact your police department. I want everybody to know it's not. It's just a courtesy that we do in Bergen to let them know that you are now on the voting rolls.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I had seen that floating around social media myself. And, those are the kind of things that definitely don't help people feel confident, in this process during this time. So knowing that that is not accurate, and that, I think it's wonderful to also know, and we have been posting in the comments for those of you watching, the links so that you can go follow up on some of these questions and issues and confirm things, again, to give yourself more peace of mind in this process as you're voting. And
one thing that you could, I hope your viewers understand, is that we make every effort in our office to make sure the voter rolls are as clean and perfect as possible. But the voters have a responsibility too, because if they're accepting mail-in sample ballots for voters that no longer live in their home and aren't sending them back to us, we have no way of knowing that people moved. And that's a lot of the calls that we get. Well, my son got a ballot. The same thing with people who are deceased. We get all that information from Vital Statistics for New Jersey. But if someone unfortunately passes away out of state, we have no way of knowing that. And if you continue to take those sample ballots, yes, that person unfortunately stays on the rolls. Mm-hmm. So then we ask the family to send us a copy of the death certificate so we can remove them. So I think there's got to be some kind of communication and partnership we're doing our job, but there has to be a partnership with the voters to understand their responsibilities.
Yeah, it definitely speaks to voter engagement, and voter participation is more than just doing your vote. It's kind of helping keep the rolls tight and clean,
right?
And communicating information like that as well.
Well, we came up with this process. It's called the 10-year letter. And if you haven't voted, it's not mandated by the state or anybody else. We decided to help clean up the rolls. If you haven't voted in 10 years, we send you a letter to, asking if you still reside in Bergen County. The response has been tremendous. I have to be honest, with all the paperwork coming to all the voters, half of it is dumped in the garbage. I hate to say that because they should be reading it, but that's what happens. And then they'll say, well, I never got that. I didn't get this from you. So we decided to do that to help them out again and put some of the responsibility. It's on us, but we're giving them a break with doing this letter. So we do a lot of things. I have to be honest with you. The public has no idea whatsoever, none, what it takes to put an election together, all the pieces and what you just said prior, all the three officers working together. But after the election, remember, we have to put it back together again and make sure it's all okay. So I just was on another conference call. I said we were the unsung heroes, but, without us, there would be no election. So.
Well, we are grateful to have you both in our county and Bergen County to be doing this, and grateful that professionals like you are all around the state, making this happen. So it's wonderful to hear that yesterday, National Voter Registration Day, that you got over 4,000, applications come in, and I know that when, you mentioned it to me earlier before we went live, how you had said that, now you have to go through them and, sure that everything gets in properly and deal with the ones that are duplicates and all of that. But it's wonderful to see that, we're getting people engaged and voting. We are now, though, I know with that, you are getting tons of phone calls every day from people on this process with, different types of questions. And I know, as we were saying, that you're kind of getting a few frequent questions, the same questions over and over again. Could you possibly share what the top questions you keep getting are? Frequently asked questions, so maybe we can answer them for anyone watching, if they have them.
I can tell you the number one question is, am I registered? The number two question is, I want to vote in the polling place on the machine. That's the number two question. That's been huge. And what I'm going to do, those are like the basic, or where do I vote? And we tell them about the card coming. But I have to tell you, I gave my deputy a great job. all the emails we've been receiving, I now automatically click to her. She responds, and she's even gotten broader on the responses to it. And I don't want to take away your thunder. You can answer that.
Well, if people have questions about where they vote or whether they can vote on the machine, we're very clear about the process. As Patty said before, the only people permitted to vote on the machine are people who are AGA reliant, which means they cannot see or they cannot fill out a paper ballot. Anybody else that goes to the polls, because there's a lot of information out there, and I know the governor says it too, you can go to the polls. That's true. But if you go to the polls and appear, unless you beat that criteria, you're going to have to vote on a paper ballot, a provisional ballot, which is really, for all intents and purposes, exactly the same as your mail-in ballot. And what that entails is waiting online, getting a ballot, a provisional ballot, filling it out at the polling place, completing the affidavit and put it in the envelope with the affidavit attached. Those ballots will come back to us on election night, and that's the tail end of our process, which we will address if you're interested. We have to verify every one of those people and make sure they did not return their mail-in ballot. So with all due respect, those ballots are counted last, because we have to make sure that the board has not already counted their mail-in ballot. So, I think that's a message to everybody that's unsure about the process. The only way you can vote on the machine is if you're disabled and meet that criteria. Under the you have to sign a certificate under the constraint of perjury. So it's the state's taking this very seriously, and so are we. So that's the other option about voting. You can vote on a provisional ballot, but again, it's a paper ballot. So we're encouraging people, as soon as you get your ballot, which you'll be getting in the next week and a half, don't wait till November to return it. Take it to the drop box. The Board of Elections is already set up at the college starting this week to start to scan them in to say that they were received. You can go track your ballot and know it's in-house and be comfortable. And that's part of the process that we're working on.
It's a great reminder to remind everyone that this year election day starts early. You don't wait till election day. Election day is now.
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, we can open the ballots 10 days before the election this year, which is also through the order of the governor. So there's a lot of changes in-house and for the public. I just want to say we had a call with the Division of Elections this morning. You're going to see, and it's on Route 80 already, signs about register to vote. It's going to be on radio. It's going to be on what routes these are, 29, 80, I forget the other one, to make sure people get that the idea is October 13th is the deadline to register. And then
So folks, just a few more weeks if you haven't registered yet to get those in, because we don't want you to miss it. Yep. We have a question from our audience, ladies. They're asking if we still, our friend Libby Klein, a great supporter of the YW, is asking if we need poll workers still to sign up, and if so, what's the process for that?
Okay. Well, Jamie Sheen and the commissioners they're in charge of the board work. So maybe I just give you a little brief thing. What you read in the beginning are investigations, registrations, the machines, the fact-finding on the provisionals. The board counts the provisional ballots and hires the poll workers, plus gets the polling places. And the county clerk takes the petitions and he mails out the ballots. So none of our jobs, it's all overlap. There's a checks and balance going on. But you can contact Jamie Sheen at the Board of Elections. Her phone number is 336 6241. I have a call card over here. 6241. And they'll be more than happy if because I know they're asking for poll workers. And there's also a ballot board that counts in-house here, the ballots. So
that's great. And we'll make sure we put that information here in the comments.
Okay. I didn't hear. What did you say?
I said we'll make sure we put that information here in the comments for everyone too, so that they know where to contact in case they're interested in becoming poll workers and finding out. And again, whether you're in Bergen County or elsewhere in the state of New Jersey, we'll make sure you have a contact for that. So thank you, and thank you for the question, Libby. So ladies, as we're kind of closing up, and I really thank you. You've given us so much information and helped us dispel so many of the myths and rumors. You know, one of the most important things, as you know, is not only to be registered to vote and to do it, but also to be educated on the issues and the candidates, so that when you get there, you know, you're ready to do, you know, whether you're doing it from home or whether, you know, this year you are one of the people that are doing it in person, that you know the information so that you can cast your vote appropriately. I want to share to our viewers that the YWCA will be co-hosting a candidate forum for the Bergen County freeholders on October 8th at 7:30 p.m. We will be doing it with the League of Women Voters. It's a nonpartisan event with all 4 candidates from all party lines. And obviously, watching a candidate debate, and whether it's about a local one like this or whether it's something that has to do with the presidential election, is a wonderful way to learn about the candidates and what they believe in, and whether or not that is something that aligns with your value system to help you cast your vote. So ladies, as we're closing out, could you share a little bit about kind of, you know, voters and, you know, the process of kind of educating yourselves? Obviously, we know that you are nonpartisan and that you're not, you know, standing behind any particular candidates. You're working just the election and making sure that it, you know, is strong and safe and all of that. But you know, just any words for our voters if they're getting ready to go out and cast their votes?
Well, first of all, I want to say to everybody listening on Facebook, you know, this is the greatest gift we have in this country, to be able to go out and vote. You don't like somebody, vote them out, okay? And make sure you take that opportunity to do so. And quick story, you know, we talk to colleges and the kids say, oh, one vote doesn't make a difference, but it does. Bergen County's lower level of the ticket, the council has, by one vote was the election difference. The other thing I feel people should read, go to the websites. These candidates put a lot of time and effort into their websites, into mailings. Take the opportunity to read it. Listen, I don't know if you're going to find one that fits the bill for you 100%, but maybe the other guy will do 5 or 6 things that you do like. Make your choice and get out to the polls. Well, you can't go to the polls. Mail your ballot in and vote. And God bless our country.
The other thing too, is that, and besides, I mean, there's a lot of focus obviously because of the presidential election this year, but as Patty said, down ballot, there are also municipal races, county races, municipal races, and some school board elections are on the ballot as well. So I think the onus is on the voter to find out what issues are really affecting their day-to-day life. And because, as Patty said, become educated and make the effort to learn a little bit, but just don't listen to what somebody else said or what someone's put on Facebook. You know, educate yourself, because that's the most important thing.
Well, that's great advice, and it's a wonderful reminder that even though this is a presidential election a year, and that's why it gets extra attention, that every election on every level impacts our life in some way, and they are all equally important. And it's important to know and the issues and the candidates and educate yourself on them to help you cast an educated vote. Libby asked again, I'm just going to repeat for everyone, and we we will be posting information about the candidate forum again. It is October 8th at 7:30 p.m. It will be on our YWCA Northern New Jersey page on Facebook Live. And again, we're very proudly working closely with the League of Women Voters to be hosting this event, and it is a Bergen County freeholders, I guess now commissioners, candidate forum. So we will get more information to you about that. We have one more question, ladies, that says, when will the sample ballots be available on the county website? That's from Barbara King.
Okay, so this year it's different. That's a good question. This year it's different. It's going to be a card. In the order from the governor, no sample ballot. It'll be a card telling you where you would go to vote because they consolidated all the polling places. So, but John Hogan, I'm sure if you go to County Clerk John Hogan, he will have a copy of the sample ballot. He has a wonderful website, very informative, answers a lot of questions.
Wonderful. And we'll put a link to that website here, and we'll see if we can get some additional information as well. Ladies, thank you so much for giving us so much detail. You packed a lot of information in a short period of time. We're so grateful. We're so lucky to have such strong leadership in our county elections office. And thank you for breaking barriers for women as well in your work, both of you.
Thank you so much.
We're so grateful for the role models you are for women everywhere. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you. Those of you watching, again, please get yourselves connected with the links that are here. If you're not from Bergen County, we also have information from across the state so that you can get the information from your local county. Again, you have until October 13th to register to vote, so the information on how to do that is here as well. And any other information you need, you can get on vote.org. Again, Election Day is November 2020, but Election Day is now, so get moving. And also for anyone who hasn't yet signed up for our 21-day racial equity and social justice challenge, we'll put the link here in our comments, and we do encourage everyone big issues to be considering this year when you're looking at candidates is how they feel about issues impacting racial equity and equality. So we encourage everybody to educate yourself. Thank you again, ladies, for all this great information, and we wish everyone a wonderful, safe day, and see you all soon. Take care.